give her something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Totally cool.
Hey, everybody, we are live. It's Bitcoin Steven and the BTC Guru. Happy Monday, June 14th.
Happy Monday to you too, man. It's great. It's going to be another great week in the Bitcoin world.
It is. It's going to be another great week. Lots of stuff happening out there. The markets look like they're stabilizing a little. Bitcoin's
back
up again.
The demand is only going up. I saw an interview with Paul Tudor Jones. He's a billionaire investor. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And he was anti, cryptocurrency Bitcoin until just recently. And he says, here's what he loves. When they ask him how much and what did you buy, how much Bitcoin did you buy and what price? And he didn't answer it. He goes, here's my answer. I love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin for the main reason it's math. 2 + 2 equals 4 and has been for thousands of years and will be for thousands of years.
Right.
It won't change. And he used words in this article like stable, Bitcoin stable, real, trustworthy, basically an always increasingly valued asset.
Yeah.
And this guy manages $1 trillion in all his funds, or close to that, somewhere along that big, huge number. And they're like, well, how much? And he goes, well, I take 5% and put it in silver. I put 5% in gold, 5% in commodities, and 5% in Bitcoin. He goes, I don't know what I'm going to do with the other 80% yet. Oh no, it wasn't gold. It was precious metals, 5%, cash, 5%, commodities 5%, and then Bitcoin 5%. And he's, I don't know what I'm going to do with the other 80%, but I know what he's going to do with the other 80%. The only non-leakable, and we talked about this on Friday, asset preserver, cash preserver, buying power preserver, and increasing buying power is Bitcoin. It's the only thing out there. All cryptocurrency. It's the only thing. It doesn't leak.
Right.
And here's another thing. Bitcoin by design has to go up every year. It's written in the code. It is basically as the demand, even if the demand just stayed flat from here for the next 1,000 years, it will go up every year because that's what it's programmed to do. It's a store of value, and it has to cover inflation basically, and that's why it goes up every year. It's written to do that, and so. There's no other, like we talked about on Friday. You were fired up because you saw that Michael Saylor interview about there's no leakage in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, there's none. I mean, Michael Saylor calls it the best invention ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Ever.
Ever. That's a pretty big statement, but you know what? I mean, how do you argue against that? It's kind of like, there is no leaks anywhere in that system. And the fact that you've got that algorithmic scarcity, I mean, that's just what is so different than everything else that's ever out there.
Yep, absolutely. And let's say best case scenario. One of the arguments I see in the the people that I listen to and watch and stuff is, what if the U.S. or some other country comes out with a precious metal backed currency. Where there's no value. Right now, they call it a fiat dollar because there's in fiat euros, everything's a fiat out there. There's nothing behind it but the good word of that government,
right?
Which is I don't know any government
that's not worth too much, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why inflation's going up so much. And so even if that does happen, let's say we get a conservative president in the United States and they bring us back the gold based or precious metal based dollar, Bitcoin's still going to go up. Bitcoin's not going to go away. You'll be able to exchange it for that really strong currency because it has precious metals behind it, but it's still going to go up in value. And that dollar that's precious metal backs, it still has leakage because you can manipulate gold and silver by just not stop mining, price goes up, start mining, price goes down. The supply is controlled by humans. Another great thing that Paul Tudor Jones said that, do I want to rely on the stability of mankind and man's that they're going to stay honest in government, or am I going to rely on the stability of math? It's a real easy choice.
Everything in the world literally comes down to math.
Yeah.
Okay, it really does in some form or another. And it's exciting times. It's exciting times. Bitcoin is, one of the analogies that I really liked was, the Bitcoin is really, it's kind of like a cell phone that just does phone calls and texts, right? And I mean, that's what it does. It does it really good. It's never going to do anything else. That's what it does, And then you got Ethereum. Ethereum is like the smartphone, right? It's like you can put all the apps on top of that, and that's what kind of turns it into a smartphone, So it's totally kind of two totally kind of different animals over there. You could, because with Bitcoin you have that store of value because of the algorithmic scarcity, because there's only going to be 21 million coins ever. So that's how that one's going to be a store of value. And, the Ethereum and things like that, the things that's really interesting about that is that, it's kind of like a toll booth, it's like you get paid on people, as people keep using that app and buying it and using it more and buying it more, the token holders are going to be, rewarded, they're going to continue to be rewarded with that. It's that, to me, Ethereum is a lot like Microsoft Windows used to be, Microsoft Windows had this big giant, huge audience. And I think that, and a lot of things were built on Microsoft, Windows back then. And I think a lot of the things, I think Ethereum is going to end up being kind of, to the blockchain what Microsoft Windows was to the internet.
Yeah. It's gonna be around for a long time. There's like, 80+% of the altcoins are built upon Ethereum. There's other ones like Cardano. I've mentioned it many times that are coming up. There's other ones that are out there too. But I think Cardano's got the best chance of either equaling Ethereum or even bypassing it. But it's not going away. It's like you said. It's the smart version of the blockchain. And you and I were talking about something off the air, and we'll talk about it very, very soon. But the reason why we could get excited about that idea was because of the blockchain and how it's so easy to interface with the blockchain nowadays. And 5-10 years ago, when blockchain was just around, it would probably take us years to get something that we could.
It was like when the internet started. It was like when the internet started. Remember, it was like the AOL dial-up and all this other kind of stuff. And there was no, at the beginning of the internet, there was no graphical, no good user interface, right? No. Yeah. There was no real user interface, and
that's what happened. A bunch of smart people started using it, and really cool stuff started to happen, right?
Yeah, it's like
so. What's happening right now with blockchain and Bitcoin? A lot of really smart people are starting to use it, and there's going to be a lot of cool things coming out these next very, very quickly. But yeah, where do you want to store your money? Do you want to store your money in something that you have no control of? They can print more of it at any whim, and they is somebody that you can't control, or you can't even talk to,
right?
Or do you want to put it in a currency that countries are adopting as their currency, Bitcoin, El Salvador, and they're the first one, and there's many after that. Large companies are storing all their excess cash in, MicroStrategies, right. Tesla, blah blah blah. The list goes on, and it's going to get bigger. And it's basically it's the new retirement plan. It's a 401(b) for Bitcoin, because where else can you store your hard-earned the payment of labor? Because that's what we're exchanging, right? We exchange our labor and our hard work for some sort of payment that everybody recognizes that is good, dollars or whatever you want to do. But every I worked for $1,000 last week, and it's my $1,000 is only could buy $800 this week, next week $700, and so on. Do I want to leave my money in something that's decreasing in value, or something that is just math, and 2 + 2 is 4, and it's always going to go up by design? It's a no-brainer, right?
Absolutely. It really is a no-brainer. It's kind of like, I played golf with a guy on Saturday, and he was out here for a wedding out in La Costa, and he and his fiance are both in the real estate, and he's a young guy. He's I think he was like 33, and he said he's got like 30 grand put away, and he's got like $100,000 in student debt that he's still dealing with, and we were talking about we were talking about Bitcoin and stuff, and it's like, he goes, you know what? He goes, I just don't know what to really do. He says, I don't have enough money to do anything, really anything with just like 30. And I'm like, I said, if I were you, I said, I would take at least 10 grand. I'd take at least 10 of that and I would go put it into Bitcoin and I would just forget about it and just leave it there for a while. Okay. Just leave it there for a while. I said, because that's going to turn into a lot more money for you.
Yeah.
And, yeah, again, there's a lot of people it's so crazy because so many people just don't understand it or how to get it or anything like that.
And it's getting easier. Seriously, go to your Venmo app and you can buy Bitcoin or PayPal.
Or Cash App too.
Cash App, it's there. You can do it right now.
Right.
Let's take that example you just gave. So he has $100 grand in student debt, which is just asinine. I can't believe they sold us that. But anyway, I won't get on that box. So how'd you like to pay that off with 50 grand? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Right.
So what you do is put some money. You're paying $400 a month in student debt, maybe. Okay.
Right.
That's what he's probably paying. So sacrifice a little bit. Don't go out to eat. Don't go to Starbucks. Put another $400 a month in Bitcoin, and just keep doing that. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as that Bitcoin doubles, pull out that thing and pay your student loan down. And then pretty soon that student loan is going to basically cost to pay that 100 grand. It'll basically cost you 50 grand.
Right.
Because Bitcoin's basically doubling every year. Just go look at the charts. And will that slow down? Maybe, but probably not. Not in the near future.
Not for a while.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking $100,000 to $500,000 per Bitcoin by the end of the year. And you're like, well, I can't afford the 40 grand that's at today. Well, who cares? You buy it. Buy
$100 worth. Buy $10 worth. Just buy something.
And then tomorrow buy a little bit more. And tomorrow after that next day buy a little bit more. And pretty soon your buying power gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And now you're paying off stuff that it's not dollar for dollar. You're paying 50 cents on the dollar to pay it off. You're paying 25 cents on the dollar. Just do the math. We're back to math again. Just do the math. It's that simple. And it's not. Don't let your mind confuse you, or don't let the fear that out there is confuse you. You got to take action. We talked about this on Friday about you have to take action. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Take some action and do it. And have some patience. Obviously, this is not a get rich quick thing at all. It's a long-term thing. But if you're steady at it and you keep at it and you discipline yourself, you could pay your student debt off very quickly. You could, my son's trying to buy. He's been married a couple of years, trying to buy a house right now in California, which is virtually impossible. You can't do it without help from your family, and he wants to do it all himself. And so he's got to, while he's paying high rent, he's got to save a couple $100,000, which is very, very tough to do. And he's got student loans too.
Right.
And this is the only way to do it. It's the new retirement plan, and it's the new plan of getting into that American dream, which is owning your own home, I think.
Right. Yeah, it really is. It's I encourage everybody to do it. My oldest son, David, had actually at one point decided, okay, instead of going to coffee kind of thing in the morning, that $5 or $6 he was spending, he just used the Cash App and has it just going over and continuing every day and buying stuff,
Yep.
And, he says that, it's the best thing he ever did is going over buying Bitcoin every day. And he's been doing that now for a couple of years, so it's like,
I can't wait till that roundup. There's some app, it's like they round up, if you spend $1.80 on something, they'll take 20 cents and then, they'll round it up to $2 and take that extra money and put it in a fund.
Right.
I can't wait till you can add crypto to that fund, because it's going to be incredible. That's an incredible way to build wealth while you're not even looking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, I've been seeing some comments. It looks like there's people in there spamming things and trying to get people to, airdrop them stuff and saying they're going to send them some Bitcoin. Don't fall to that. Okay. No. It's a scam. That's other people trying to impersonate us. I don't know how they actually do come in as Bitcoin Learning Academy, but they do. It's never going to be us. We're never going to ask you to just send us Bitcoin somewhere. That's ridiculous. Anybody who does that, you need to understand it's a scam. And if you decide to send a Bitcoin, you're making a mistake. Right, Doug?
Don't do it.
So
I
don't
don't,
do
I don't
that.
know how they do it, and I don't know how they do it so quickly. Everybody, all my buddies that have podcasts and streams, it happens to every
It
one of
happens to
them.
everybody. Yeah, it happens to
Back in
everybody.
the day, I actually fell for. I'm really, really cautious, and I think it was pretty sure it was Elon. And Elon texts, he tweets a lot. This is a long time ago, and somebody had hacked into his account. It was his icon. There was no difference. It was I thought it was him.
Yeah.
And it was around a charitable thing, and I'm like, okay. And I set and it ended up being a big scam.
Right.
I lost 3 Ethereum on that one. But you don't do it. If we're asking you for money, it's going to be exchanged for something, for the educational product that we're putting out. We're not going to just say, hey, we're not investment advisors. We're just two entrepreneurs talking to you guys.
Yeah, we want to help you, but we're not going to make rain for you.
We're not going to double your Bitcoin. We're not going to do any of that stuff.
Nobody's throwing money to us.
Right, exactly. We're going to teach you how to earn while you learn, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got some other really cool stuff we were talking about before the show that we'll be talking to you about soon.
Very excited.
We're definitely moving forward, and we're going to do a case study right here with you guys and let you participate and see exactly what it's all about, how to go out and create a token, and how to get it out to the market, and how to find the right kind of cause to do. It's going to be good. I think
live and right in front of you, and you're gonna eat this education up.
Yeah, we're gonna walk you through every little thing it takes to be successful, and we're going to do it right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be a case study that we do right here. We're going to go out and develop a coin and launch a coin and show you how we're going to market the coin. And if you want to participate in and help us out, but you'll learn something. You'll learn something so valuable because you'll learn what it takes, and then you'll be able to see exactly what happens. So
yeah,
and it's going to be fun. We're really have a case study.
Yeah, it'll be a live case study right in front of you. And if you haven't watched Friday's show, it was Friday that we talked about the 3 pillars. I'm pretty darn sure it was, right?
Right.
Yeah, so go watch Friday's show. We talk about what the attributes of a valid cryptocurrency, of a valid token. There's 3 pillars that we talked about in there. Go watch that. It's extremely valuable information, and we'll be using that as we go forward. That whole logic and that whole the criteria of how to recognize a valid cryptocurrency. There's altcoins popping up right and left. And how do you know which ones to dive into and which ones not to? You might get lucky or you might not. It's roulette is probably a little bit more reliable than the altcoins world right now. You would just have to get lucky or know something, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you how to recognize a valid altcoin that has potential, and learn how to get in early, and then learn how to do it if you have a cause.
And watch what happens afterwards too, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be
so stay tuned for that.
After, you're going to see how the whole thing kind of develops, and I think what we're hoping is that encourages you to open up your mind to the possibilities. I just mentioned this to Doug this morning before we came on the show, and he's like, "That's just like an amazing." Off the charts, he goes, "You had a really good weekend," and it's and that's what happens here, guys, is because you start learning things and you kind of start to think outside the box, and something crosses your paths, and you're like, "Whoa, what about that?" Makes a lot of sense, and sometimes a light bulb can come on that can really go out and help change a lot of people's lives, and that's what we're really looking at doing. And I think that this project that we're going to do, you'll be able to see definitely that's exactly what we're trying to do with it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Be a ton of fun. Stay tuned for that. And, thanks for joining us today. And we'll be back tomorrow. All right, Steve?
Same time, same channel. See you guys.
I love it.